Vasseur stood in front of the cameras after the Belgian Grand Prix and said something team principals almost never say without a reason. He didn't blame the drivers, he didn't blame the strategy, he blamed the car, and he did it in a way that sounded less like an excuse and more like a confession. You've probably seen the headline by now, Ferrari at the limit, but here's what they didn't tell you in the two-line summary. This wasn't a throwaway comment. This was Vasseur drawing a line in the sand, in public, about exactly how much control he actually has over his own championship. And if you understand what that line really means, you understand something about the rest of this season that most fans watching Sunday's race missed completely. Keep that phrase in mind at the limit because it comes back later, and it changes what you think you know about Ferrari's chances in Hungary this weekend. Before we open this file, do two things. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the follow-up when this story breaks wide open, because this is not the last time Vasseur is going to have to answer for this. And drop a comment telling me which country you're watching from. Because depending on where you are, you already have a favorite in this fight, and I want to know who it is. Now, let's build the case properly. Ferrari have looked genuinely dangerous in the last few rounds. Since the upgrade package landed in Barcelona, the car transformed. Hamilton took his first win in red at Montmeló. Leclerc won at Silverstone in front of a British crowd that came expecting a Mercedes party. For a few weeks, it looked like the balance of power in this championship had actually shifted. Then came Spa. Leclerc had the race in his hands. Ferrari pitted him under the virtual safety car. The move worked. He came out ahead. For a moment, it looked like the Scuderia had outthought Mercedes on strategy the way they'd been outdriving them on pace. And then Andrea Kimi Antonelli simply drove away from him. Not by a car length, not by a photo finish, by almost 2 full seconds, 1.952 to be exact, and that number matters more than it looks like it should. Because that gap wasn't about that Sunday. That gap was about qualifying, on Saturday, the day before. And that's the part of this story most people don't slow down long enough to actually look at. Here's the pattern. Hamilton's average qualifying result across the first 10 races of this season is P4.4. Leclerc's is P4.6. Not P1, not P2. Fourth on average before the race has even started. Meanwhile, across those same 10 races, Mercedes have taken every single pole position. Russell in Barcelona, Russell again in Austria, Antonelli in Britain, Antonelli again at Spa. Everyone. Not most. Everyone. So when Vasseur stood up after Belgium and admitted Ferrari are, in his words, practically at the limit with the engine over one lap, he wasn't describing a bad weekend. He was describing the entire season out loud, on record. Remember that number, every single pole, because we're coming back to it. Vasseur didn't stop at the diagnosis, he went further, and this is the part that should make every Ferrari fan sit up straight. He told reporters, through quotes carried by Motorsport Total, that he doesn't expect any major strides on this front in the near future. Not this weekend, not next month. He said it's likely a characteristic of the power unit itself, something baked into how Mercedes built their engine, that favors them on a single hot lap while possibly helping Ferrari more across a full race distance. And then he said the sentence that really matters. There's not much we can do except continue developing the car and get ever closer to Mercedes. Ever closer, not level, not ahead, closer. That is not the language of a team principal, hiding a fix he already has in his pocket. That is the language of a man managing expectations for a limitation he does not currently know how to solve. And here's the part that connects everything together. If Ferrari's real ceiling is a qualifying deficit that Vasseur himself says can't be meaningfully closed until Zandvoort or Monza after the summer break, then every single race between now and then, starting with this weekend in Hungary, is Ferrari trying to win races from a position of built-in disadvantage. Hamilton and Leclerc aren't fighting Mercedes on a level grid. They're fighting from fourth every single Saturday and hoping race pace and strategy make up the difference on Sunday. So follow the chain. Barcelona upgrade gives Ferrari a genuinely strong car. That strong car still can't out-qualify Mercedes. That qualifying gap forces Hamilton and Leclerc to start behind, in dirty air, race after race. And the team principal himself has now confirmed on the record that this isn't a temporary glitch. It's structural. It's the ceiling. Now hold that thought, because there's a question buried inside all of this that the paddock does not want to answer out loud. Is Vasseur being honest because he's out of options, or is he lowering expectations now so that anything Ferrari achieves for the rest of this season looks like an overachievement instead of a shortfall? Tell me in the comments, is this a genuine technical wall, or is this a team principal managing the story before the story manages him? And if you think it's the second one, smash that like button so I can see how many of you already see through this. Which brings us to Hungary. The Hungaroring is tight, twisty, and low speed. On paper, it's supposed to be exactly the kind of circuit where Ferrari's chassis strengths can paper over the engine weakness Vasseur just admitted to. That's why so many paddock insiders are calling Ferrari favorites this weekend. But favorites on paper is not the same as favorites on the timing sheet. And if Mercedes' power unit advantage really is baked into every single qualifying lap this season, then even a Ferrari-friendly track doesn't erase Saturday's math. It just makes Sunday's recovery job slightly easier. And that is the trap hiding inside this whole story. Everyone wants to talk about the race. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that the team principal already told you, in his own words, where the real battle is actually being lost. Not on Sunday afternoon, on Saturday afternoon before a single overtake has even happened. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, because there's a second layer to this that connects directly to a pattern this channel has flagged before. When a team boss publicly downgrades expectations mid-season, it is almost never just about the car. It's about controlling the narrative before results do it for him. If Ferrari underperform in Hungary now, Vasseur has already given the press a built-in explanation. At the limit, nobody's fault, just physics. That's a very convenient sentence to have on record before a difficult weekend. And some of you flagged exactly this kind of move from other team bosses in our last video on contract clauses. If you are one of them, you already know what I'm about to say next. Here's the verdict. Vasseur wasn't making an excuse for one bad qualifying session. He was quietly redrawing the boundaries of what success looks like for Ferrari for the rest of this year. Hamilton and Leclerc are not losing pole position because they're driving worse. They are losing pole position because the team principal himself has confirmed in public that the car has a ceiling the team does not currently know how to raise. That's not a driver problem. That's not even really an engineering problem anymore. That's a power problem about who controls the story when the results don't cooperate, and Vasseur just showed you exactly how he plans to control it. So tell me straight, if you were in Vasseur's position right now, do you say this out loud in July and hand the story to the press before they can write it for you? Or do you stay quiet, keep pushing upgrades in silence, and let Zandvoort speak for itself? There's no comfortable answer here. Pick one in the comments, because the paddock is already choosing sides on this, whether they're saying it publicly or not. This story is not over. When Ferrari roll out that next upgrade after the summer break, we're going to find out whether Vasseur's words this week were honesty or damage control with excellent timing. You'll want to be here when that answer arrives. So hit subscribe, hit like, if you already know which one it is, and drop your verdict below. Agree or disagree, the comments are the courtroom. Until the next one.